The Secrets and Mysteries of St. Patrick's Day. Introduction. St. Patrick's Day, celebrated annually on March 17th, is one of the most famous cultural and religious holidays in the world. While many associate the holiday with parades, green beer, shamrocks, and lively festivities, few know the deeper mysteries and hidden histories behind it. St. Patrick's Day is not just an excuse for celebration, it has profound religious, historical, and mythical significance. This report delves into the hidden aspects of St. Patrick's Day, uncovering forgotten truths, lesser-known legends, and the deeper spiritual meanings that many have overlooked. We will explore the true story of St. Patrick, the mysterious symbolism surrounding the holiday, and its transformation over the centuries. Chapter 1. The Truth Behind St. Patrick. Who was St. Patrick? Most people believe that St. Patrick was Irish, but in reality, he was born in Roman Britain, possibly in present-day Wales or Scotland, around the late 4th century. His real name was likely Mewin Sucat, but he later took the name Patrick after becoming a bishop. When Patrick was around 16 years old, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and sold into slavery in Ireland. He spent 6 years as a shepherd, enduring harsh conditions. During this time, he developed a strong faith in Christianity, which he claimed helped him survive his ordeal. Eventually, he managed to escape after having a divine vision that guided him to a ship back to Britain. Patrick's return to Ireland. Despite escaping, Patrick felt a deep calling to return to Ireland, not as a slave, but as a missionary. After years of religious training in France, he was ordained as a bishop and returned to Ireland to spread Christianity. He traveled across the island, converting pagans, building churches, and establishing religious communities. One of the most famous myths about St. Patrick is that he drove the snakes out of Ireland. However, scientific evidence shows that there were never any snakes in Ireland to begin with. The story is likely metaphorical, symbolizing Patrick's efforts to eradicate pagan beliefs, which were often associated with serpent imagery. The controversies of St. Patrick's story. Despite being revered as the patron saint of Ireland, St. Patrick was not canonized by the Catholic Church through the usual process. In fact, many details of his life remain uncertain, with historians debating which parts of his story are historically accurate and which have been mythologized over time. Another lesser-known fact is that Patrick was not the first Christian missionary in Ireland. There were already small Christian communities in Ireland before his arrival. However, his influence was so profound that he became the dominant figure associated with Ireland's Christianization. Chapter 2. The Symbolism and Hidden Meanings of St. Patrick's Day. The shamrock, a sacred symbol? One of the most enduring symbols of St. Patrick's Day is the shamrock, a three-leaved clover. According to legend, St. Patrick used the shamrock to explain the concept of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, to the Irish people. However, the shamrock had spiritual significance long before Patrick's time. In ancient Celtic tradition, the number 3 was considered sacred, appearing in numerous mythological and religious contexts. The triple spiral, triskele, a common Celtic symbol, represents cycles of life, death, and rebirth. It is possible that St. Patrick used the shamrock because the Irish were already familiar with the mystical importance of threes. The color green, a modern invention? Contrary to popular belief, blue was originally associated with St. Patrick. Some of the earliest depictions of him show him wearing blue robes. In fact, St. Patrick's blue was the color used by the Order of St. Patrick, a chivalric order established in the 18th century. The color green became associated with the holiday later due to Ireland's nickname, the Emerald Isle, and its lush green landscapes. Green also became a symbol of Irish nationalism, particularly during the 18th and 19th centuries when Irish independence movements used green flags and banners. Leprechauns, more than just tricksters? Leprechauns are another common symbol of St. Patrick's Day, often depicted as mischievous little men in green suits who hoard gold. However, their origins come from ancient Irish folklore, where they were considered supernatural beings, part of the fairy world. In early myths, leprechauns were not always cheerful tricksters. Some stories describe them as cunning and even malevolent, capable of leading people astray or cursing those who stole from them. The modern image of the leprechaun as a comical figure only emerged in later Irish American culture. Chapter 3: The Evolution of St. Patrick's Day Celebrations. How the holiday spread beyond Ireland. St. Patrick's Day began as a religious feast day in Ireland, primarily observed by the Catholic Church. It was a solemn occasion marked by church services and family gatherings rather than wild celebrations. However, as Irish immigrants spread around the world, especially to the United States, the holiday transformed dramatically. In cities like New York, Boston, and Chicago, St. Patrick's Day became a major public event. Irish immigrants, who often faced discrimination, used parades and celebrations as a way to show pride in their heritage. Today, the largest St. Patrick's Day parade in the world is held in New York City, attracting millions of spectators. Meanwhile, Chicago is famous for dyeing its river green, a tradition that began in 1962. The influence of commercialization. Over time, St. Patrick's Day became increasingly commercialized. Businesses saw an opportunity to market Irish-themed products, and the holiday became associated with beer, pubs, and partying. This shift was fueled by brands such as Guinness, which heavily promoted the holiday worldwide. Interestingly, for most of the 20th century, pubs in Ireland were closed on St. Patrick's Day by law to maintain its religious nature. It wasn't until the 1970s that the Irish government embraced the more festive aspects of the holiday to boost tourism. The superstitions and hidden beliefs. Beyond the parades and parties, St. Patrick's Day has many superstitions and mystical elements tied to it. For example, wearing green is believed to make you invisible to leprechauns who might otherwise pinch you. Finding a four-leaf clover on St. Patrick's Day is said to bring exceptional luck. Drinking a drowning the shamrock toast, where a shamrock is placed in a glass of whiskey and then drunk, is an old Irish tradition for good fortune. Modern controversies and debates. In recent years, some have criticized the stereotypical portrayals of Irish culture associated with St. Patrick's Day, particularly the emphasis on drinking. Others argue that the holiday has strayed too far from its religious and cultural roots. However, many still see it as a powerful celebration of Irish heritage, resilience, and identity, especially for the Irish diaspora around the world. Conclusion. St. Patrick's Day is much more than a day for parades and parties. It is a holiday with deep historical roots, religious significance, and layers of symbolism that many overlook. From the real story of St. Patrick to the evolution of Irish traditions, the holiday has transformed over the centuries while still retaining its cultural importance. Whether you celebrate by attending a parade, wearing green, or simply learning more about Irish history, understanding the hidden stories behind St. Patrick's Day adds a new level of appreciation for this iconic holiday.